You can feel the tension in the air as we move into race day here at Monaco. It's a track that requires the full concentration of the drivers with zero margin for error. It tests their skill to the absolute limits, so no wonder it remains a fan favourite. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco then is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. So
good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode Niner, man.
Oh, wow.
Guys, we've been here for quite a bit. So, and we treated you to some virtual images from Monaco, but if you got a chance to watch it this weekend, it certainly did not disappoint in the panoramic view perspective. It was absolutely gorgeous. What'd you guys think?
Absolutely gorgeous, like you said. Racing, kind of dull. You know, I kind of wanted to give kind of a public service announcement. You know, you brought me into Formula One and other kinds of racing and stuff like that. When you and Chad started, and now I've kind of done that, introducing my daughter, Toby, Cody, and those guys. And I ask you if you feel the same as me, but that brings me joy that they are enjoying something that I introduced them to. And I'm sure you feel the same about me, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can bring somebody into something new, it's a cool thing.
So I want to encourage this, listeners, tell somebody about it. Introduce them to something new. They'll try it. But here's what I want to warn you. Do not make it Monaco the first race they see.
Oh, yeah.
They'll never come back.
I hate to say it, but don't make it Spa either, because the chances of a complete rainout are absolutely possible. Red Bull Ring would be an excellent one to do. Silverstone would be an excellent way to bring somebody in.
Even the first race of the season.
Oh, yeah, the first race this season. Baku, dude, there's no shortage of excitement at Baku, which is hilarious since it's also a street circuit, like Monaco. I mean, it's obviously a lot bigger, but and I sort of disagree with you on this one this year, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I also totally understand where you're coming from, and I also do agree with you. And I know that makes me crazy, but
yeah, now there were things that I liked about it, that we'll get to. Yeah, but for somebody watching a race for the very first time, this wasn't the one to do it.
So it is a very cool track. And we're doing something special tonight since Monaco is considered the crown jewel of wins. But I wanted to, in my need to try to teach everybody these corners and get them speaking in corners. I swear, man, if David Coulthard was watching this episode, he'd be pretty happy about this, because he actually corrects people in telecasts when they're like turn 7. He's like, that's not turn 7. Call it what it is. But here's a breakdown of the turns at Monaco. You can see the black and white checker. That's the start finish line, and it's going to be heading up that diagram. So into Saint Devat, first turn, Usually a lot of action there. There no shortage of action there this time either, with Piastri and Sainz. Into Beau Rivage, we'll talk about what happened there, and then Massenet building into the casino turn, casino to Marabou, into the Grand Hotel Hairpin, and I've got pictures to follow all this after this, but into Portier, through the tunnel, into the Nouvelle Chicane, into Tabac, and then into Virage, which everybody mostly just calls swimming pool now. It's the swimming pool turn after they added the big pool. And then Rascasse, and then Noguet, and then back into start-finish. So to run you guys through that, this is what the start-finish straight looks like, and this is what people are talking about mainly when they're saying you can't pass, you can't overtake at Monaco. Look how narrow that is.
Yeah.
And we watched the Indy 500 this weekend too, and they do a 3-wide start because they can. You can barely fit 2 Volkswagen Beetles.
Yeah, this is your only DRS zone, and it's pointless.
Yeah, and you're not driving on the other side of that yellow line, so it's important to note that this road's narrower than it looks in the picture. So, and then of course at the end of the start-finish straight, coming from right to left, they're heading into Saint-Devat and up the hill into Beau Rivage. And if you did watch the race this weekend, when they did get around this turn, this is where Sainz and Piastri got into it a little bit. But then we also had up the hill there, about halfway up the hill. Now, Mikey, you and I have a very different view on this. You think Magnussen was too close to the inside, and Jason agrees with you.
Yes.
I felt that Perez unexplainably slowed down. It was either a brake check or a lift. You saw his car twitch out a little bit and then went into Magnussen.
You really saw a twitch out when K-Mag hit him.
But the end result still led to this. And I realize it's not the highest resolution photo, but I swear, dude, I mean, that is not, you can't even tell that's an F1 car at this point.
That is.
Somebody drank a Red Bull and then crushed up the can, then laid it on a table and put this picture next to it and is like, tell me the difference. So
that is $2 to $3 million, they said.
Is that what they said? Because I figured it would have been more.
Yep. But what was funny right here is during the break, when they were cleaning up all the debris, because it was so much, and the stewards were out there just picking up parts.
Yeah.
And throwing them off to the side. And I told my daughter and Toby, I said, watch that RB Cash App team come pick up them parts. This is where they get them.
That's funny, man. And Haas here's the thing too. Haas doesn't have a lot of money to begin with. So anytime they total out a car, that's a big deal. That's probably 2 or 3 people not making the trip to the next race, or who knows how they do it. But I know they've only got so much money to spend. But anyway, that's Saint-Devat and Beau Rivage. Then after they crest the top of the hill, that's a great shot of the backdrop of Monaco. They hardly ever show this because of the harbor. But Massenet is heading into the casino, and this is a very long sweeper to the left. Not so much brake. If you hit your brake points before that, then you're kind of a little bit of a lift here, moving you into the casino turn, which this is the casino turn. So
I wonder why.
Yeah, and you can just tell when there's not a race here that this whole part. I don't know if you ever seen a trip around this circuit when the race is not set up. It's just a trip around town. But I mean, they've always got like Bugattis and
oh yeah,
all kinds of crap there in that little roundabout because that fence isn't there when there's not a race. So beautiful backdrop on both sides of that. I mean, both of those hotels look amazing.
Yeah.
And then you go down the hill and over the bump to Marabou, which is on the left, is the diagram on the left. And then down the hill into the Grand Hotel Hairpin. And this hairpin's had all kinds of names over the years, but a lot of people just call it the hairpin. But it's one of the slowest turns in all of Formula One. It's also one of the few when you watch the drivers from the in-car cam that they have to roll the steering wheel completely over. Mm-hmm. They end up in a cross-handed, kind of move where it's completely rolled over, and very slow as it goes down the hill into Portier. So This is a shot heading into Portier. Now, folks, this is from 1969. This is Graham Hill, and I wanted to illustrate something. This is one of the few tracks that has not only been around since 1929, it's barely changed since 29. And then this is 69, which is 40 years later. And that bridge isn't there anymore. They've replaced that bridge with a newer one, but there's still a bridge there. And they've also added that wall just after the bridge that you go under. That wall's closer in now, so you have to kind of buckle that thing to the right going around that turn. And then this is the exit of Portier now. So pretty much that picture before where you saw the ocean's on the left in this picture, but they have to make this right and then head into the tunnel. We've seen some action here over the years, haven't we? I mean, Checo wrecked out there to red flag quali either last year or the year before that.
I think it was the year before that.
But my cool thing about the tunnel is they go into this tunnel and it was bright outside. And I know it looks well lit, but it's still enough for their eyes to adjust to almost like theater-like adjustment. And then they come out of that thing right into the sun. And I'm not kidding. It is not, I mean, you're almost you're flat out going through this tunnel, and then you've got that to look at. So they're coming from the bottom of this photo, and that tunnel is not that far up the hill from here. And they've got this chicane to negotiate. And this is not the easiest chicane. We've seen people over the years just completely miss it and go through it.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Charles' car blew up one year, Leclerc, and he went straight through and down that service alley that's in between them buildings and the track and just killed it right there. Luckily, they didn't need a caution because he was in the place where they take the cars. So, but yeah, you can see here where that's not the easiest thing to negotiate. So back on the throttle coming out of the Novell chicane into Tabak. And this is a wide, you can see that chicane at the top of this photo on the left, back there a little bit coming out of that tunnel. And, it's a sweeper, different cars do different things. Sometimes you can lift, sometimes it's a small amount of brake, but not very much. Sweeping around this turn, which will take you into, and I wanted to put these three on the same thing because this is one of the fastest segments of this circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So Tabak to Swimming Pool to Razgas, it's over, and I mean in a heartbeat. And if you've ever seen it at speed, you know what I'm talking about. And then finally, after Razgas, and you can see the bottom right photo there, those two Ferraris coming out of Razgas and getting ready to head up the hill to Nogué, which is right here. And then that puts them back on the start-finish straight. So really, some people hate this circuit. I don't. I like it. Winning here, even definitely virtually, is even difficult. You get the same struggles trying to pass people. It's very hard to do. But here we are, and that was your turn for turn, corner for corner run through. But another big important thing that you'll see at Monaco, and you don't see really anywhere else, look how close these cars are to these barriers. These cars are trying to extract, and I mean hundreds and thousands of a second of pace. And the only way to do it is getting that close to those barriers. If you cannot get that close to those barriers, you're going to be at the rear of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get too close. Lance Stroll, I'm talking to you. Thanks for screwing up Aston Martin this weekend. But anyway, so to this weekend, though, I'm a pretty happy camper. To the Tifosi Nation, Ferrari won, Charles Leclerc won, and technically he's the first Monegasque driver to win the Monaco Grand Prix. The last guy to do it was 90 some odd years ago, and there
Formula One.
Right.
Formula One.
So if you don't know, Charles Leclerc is from Monaco. His bus stop was right across the road from the start finish, and his elementary school was, at the tail end of one of the final turns. So, very happy for him. Happy for Ferrari. But I found myself being the happiest for Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fred has come in there. He's surveyed that team. He's cut out all the weeds. He's brought in nothing but good. He's still bringing good in. There's people arguing about how he's doing it. As far as, everybody's calling it HP dirty money. I get that, but it's working, and he's making it work. In the photo here, though, you see the Prince of Monaco. happy camper. He was crying. I don't know if you guys saw that. He was standing up during the national anthems. He was a teary-eyed guy. Of course, if you look under the trophy,
happy camper with his wife every day. He's a happy camper.
Yeah, Chad told me I'd be remiss if I did not call Princess of Monaco a smoke show. She's back there behind. Right, you can see her under Charles's trophy right there. She's married to the prince. Hell of an age difference there. He's 66 and she's 46, but she was extremely happy. The whole family, and far left of the photo in the back, that's the guy that runs racing for Monaco. He's like the sporting race director for the city of Monaco. And then there's that guy on the left right there wearing that yellow suit. I don't know who that dude is, but that's Carlos Sainz on the right.
Follower of the day winner right there.
Oscar Piastri did an excellent job, man. He, I think he found out why Monaco's Monaco, even though this is his second year in Formula One, but he just couldn't piece it together and find that spot. And
nothing to do. Yeah.
And I don't think he has that mentality of I'm either going to win this thing or we're both going to come in 7th and 9th because we're going to wreck out.
Yeah, with a young kid like that being a second year in and being able to stay in line and not over push, make a mistake, end up taking yourself out of the race. He understands this is Monaco. This is pretty much what it is.
Let me ask you this though, and I just now thought of this, so I know we weren't going to talk
especially
about it.
after the red flag. Now, if it was normal conditions where there was actual, pit stops and not just tire changes underneath, under the red flag,
right?
It would have been a completely different race. The results may have been the same, but more would have come into play.
Let's say, for shits and giggles, that Charles Leclerc was out front. And in P2 was Lewis Hamilton, who has not won a race in 2 years. How do you think it would have changed this race if he was as close as Piastri was to Leclerc?
Oh yeah,
I thought it'd be a fist fight. They're throwing hands.
You think it's elbows out for Hamilton all the way?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I think he would have pushed him somewhere, just edged him off, and then took the penalty later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with a guy like Hamilton, he would have went for it on that one. Which is funny because if it had been Max, I don't think Max would have, but I think Hamilton would have, dude. 2 years. Yeah.
What's he got to lose?
Yeah. I mean, of course, here's the thing. He'd be going into Ferrari with some bad blood.
Yeah.
Because, Charles was like, you just couldn't let me have my home race, could you? Just couldn't do it. Yeah. But man, I think if Charles never wins another race, dude, I think he'll be happy.
It was great, man.
Oh, yeah.
There was
100%.
There was tears from everyone on that podium.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? And he said this a few times during the footage post race, but he was like, everybody I know is here. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's a very small residential area.
Not just everyone he knows, kids he went to grade school with.
Yeah. He said his best friends were at the start finish right there. And he saw them when they did the parade around. And then based on the hugs and handshakes and, close conversation, I'd say he knows the royal family pretty well.
Oh, yeah. His math teacher, he used to give him shit.
Yeah.
She was there. Yeah, suck it.
Yeah. And so
for
even if I wasn't a Ferrari, I'm as happy for him as I was for Lando to get his first win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm stoked, and I'm stoked that going into the next race that they're going to carry that momentum. But let's go ahead and we've I don't know, have we beat the crash already at Beau Rivage to death, or did you guys have any further comments on that? As we just that was a loose overlay of run.
I think there's another crash we could probably go over. I think we covered the Perez incident enough.
I do want to talk about Sainz for a second because two things.
Lucky fella.
Two things. One, so he gets into a little fracas in Sandoval with Piastri. Felt like Piastri was being a little overly aggressive there, even though we just talked about how he was totally conservative at the end of the race. I thought maybe some of it was still some carryover from Miami 2 races ago, because those two have not been getting along very well, at least on the track.
It has been them too.
So I thought he was a little overly aggressive. Here's the thing. Sainz did not get a great start, and I understand that, but Sainz had that corner, and I'm sure Piastri's been told a million times you've got to press and get what you can early at Monaco, because if you don't, you won't get any more. So I understand that aspect of it. I do. But either way, they got into a little fracas. They get up around the hill, around Massenet, right before Casino. Something happened to Sainz's car, and he was off the track. And I'm like, shit. He's going to be like starting back again on P20, assuming he can even get back around to the pits. Then all of a sudden, we didn't even get to see the Perez crash live.
Perez crash.
No,
Because it had already happened, and they had already red flagged the race. So Sainz got super lucky. So instead of starting P19 after the red flag, they basically lined him back up.
Hey, you got somebody waiting on you.
I do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. There he is. Sorry. So
You're in here spewing this stupidity about Piastri supposed to not be aggressive while you keep me in the backstage. I see how it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
Everybody should start the
It's-
race on
it's-
training wheels to make sure my Ferraris get to go in the front. On the first turn of the Monaco Grand Prix, we should definitely not be aggressive. Okay, guys, I want you guys to all be very calm going into that first turn.
So Chad comes in
The most
immediately.
ridiculous take I've ever heard in my
Full
entire
Toto
life.
Wolf. He's like, Michael, this is wrong. No.
Let me tell you right now, Jay texted me with that crap. He was like, oh, Piastri, he's just being overly aggressive. It's the first turn of the first lap. For God's sakes, if there is a time to be aggressive, that's it.
In the one turn that you should never be aggressive in at Monaco.
always the one turn.
It's always the one. If it has to do with a Ferrari, it's the one turn. You don't be aggressive in that one turn.
Wow, I would have said that with anybody.
The cheating ass FIA let Sainz go back to third place so he could put the block on to make sure Charles won and get everybody. So don't miss me with all that being aggressive.
The rules helped out Carlos
Rules.
Sainz. The red flag came out before Sainz went off. So by
You guys
the
miss
rules,
me?
he gets his spot back. Removed from stage. Anyway,
I tell you what, Chad, what I was worried about this weekend, because I was the last one to watch, right? On our group chat, we've got the little car signal when we're ready to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
When Chad's name popped up there first, my first thought was, oh shit, George Russell done one freaking.
Oh wow. I did want to talk about Carlos as far as after the debacle with turn 1 and lap 1 and the red.
It's not a debacle. It's called racing, Jay.
So, anywho, after that, he kind of went full on Minister of Defense for the rest of that race. Yeah, because I'm telling you right now, out of those top 4, Lando was the fastest car.
Yeah, I mean, Sainz's entire job. He said it before the race.
Make sure you note that I just said Lando was the fastest car out of the top 4. Okay,
He was.
Yeah, Mike, you
But
better
here's the
note that
deal.
one real quick.
He was. Sainz said before the race, his entire job this week was to make sure Charles won. So that's what he did. He just sat back there and just didn't let anybody get past.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. That's why I was a little irritated by him getting third place back, because I really thought we might see a pass north of front. And I'm very happy that Leclerc won. I like Charles. I like Ferrari, whatever. But I mean, his entire job was just to be Perez with his elbows out. It was, I don't know. It made for a boring race. I wanted to see some fun up there. Max said it was boring, 55 times this week?
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about their
Have we talked about the princess yet?
all their feedback. We have. If you'd like to continue your discussion about we declared the Princess of Smoke show. I disagree with you on the gold digger thing, because she had to have already been wealthy to even get into that family.
He's 66.
Okay.
Next year will be the Monaco GP.
Is that being a little
Blue advertisements along the?
Listen, Jay, I mean, was she being too aggressive in turn 1? I don't understand why. I mean,
Yeah, I think she was full send into turn one.
Without a doubt.
I think she wants to be in the line of succession. Maybe, who knows?
I thought she was very excited about giving that trophy to Oscar. I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah,
I watched her eyes all the way across there.
So, we talk about the race just in general, and obviously Chad's already alluded to the fact that the drivers were bored. I get that. And if you're a pure racing fan, then I get being a pure racing fan and be bored. But if you fancy a little bit of strategy, man, that race was a strategist fever dream. And we kind of talked about that at the beginning of the show. But, you had people purposely driving slow, holding up the field. You had Alonso holding it up. You had who else? George Russell.
Lance messed up Alonso. That was
we'll get to that. But let's talk about George Russell creating the first huge bubble, and the announcers were like, I don't know how much longer he's going to let this thing go. If it gets past 19 seconds, he's going to give Lando a free pit stop, and it was like almost just an exercise in inevitability, really.
Yeah, I was watching that George Russell gap. I was like, that's their only chance. If he can get a free pit stop, maybe, but you still got to pass somebody, but you cannot risk losing a spot.
Yeah.
So I was watching that and doing the math. Once Max came in and got tires and had to make Russell speed up a little bit or be at risk, it was over.
I was worried about Hamilton and Verstappen getting tires because they both do well there when they've got good tires. And, then they did give Lando the freebie. So that helped out. Then Yuki created like a freaking 40-second bubble at some point, which became a mess. So I don't know what your all's thoughts were on it, but that was kind of fun to watch.
This is a motorsports race, right? You know me. I'm not going to come on here and be normal.
Yeah.
This is a motorsports race that you just said purists are going to love. And strategy. And then the next sentence out of your mouth was, because those guys were going super slow and holding everybody up. It's the elite motorsports race. It's the dumbest crap. Can I cuss on this show?
Yeah.
This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. Monaco doesn't deserve a race. That is the most boring. We've always been here, so we're always going to be here. Bullshit I've ever seen in my entire life.
So Chad just doesn't like this one. He just doesn't like Monaco.
I don't like Monaco. I hate that track anyway. And I get the pomp and circumstance, and it's awesome, and it's been around forever. But you watch qualifying, and then what's the point of watching anything else? Maybe it rains. Yeah. Maybe there's a red flag. We're all praying for weather at this point. And then you turn on the Indy 500, which was one of the best races of the week, probably the best race of the weekend. It's you know what I mean? Like,
you mean the safety car 500?
Don't get me wrong. But that finish was fantastic.
Oh, bro. Yeah. The last
finish
20 laps, the last 25 laps were great. The first
all we
175,
a really expensive parade. I mean, like, I don't know. They don't deserve a race. It's ridiculous. They need to make some changes.
Can't do anything on Monaco. You can't overtake or anything. I mean, it's too tight of a track. Anything.
So an incredible segue into our next category, which was driver feedback. Driver feedback after the race. First, you had George Russell and Verstappen in their post-race interview together, and Verstappen asking George, "Hey, do you want to go for a run since we didn't get any exercise in this race?" Talking about it being boring. You got Hamilton saying maybe they should add like 3 mandatory pit stops or refueling even. You've got Oscar saying, hey, they've got to do something. They've got to add mandatory pit stop. Mandatory pit stops seem to be a big piece of feedback from everybody. Even the announcing crew did the same thing before the race. They're like, I don't know what we're going to do to make this better. Part of me agrees with Chad. As much as I love Monaco, I do. But a lot of me agrees with him on that. It can be very tough.
What can they do? What can Pirelli do? Can they give them the softest 3?
Yeah, I mean,
can't stretch them out.
Yeah, they could go back to the full rainbow tires. I don't know how familiar you guys are back in the day when the medium was actually the soft.
I mean, I know rainbow's more in your wheelhouse, so just let us know.
No, you're the rainbow guy. And that was back when the pink were like the super ultra soft and the purple were the super soft, and then they had soft, and then it was like 6 or 7 different degrees of tire.
If something simple, like that, instead of changing rules and all of that, if they could just go to the tire manufacturers, hey, give us some shitty tires that don't last and force these guys to make those extra.
I mean, that's NASCAR Bristol. That's all that happened this year.
How
can exactly what happened?
I mean, we're literally going, hey, we're going to give you shitty tires on purpose. These things are going to deg after
no. We're not saying
10 or 11 laps.
We want high deg. That's not crappy. That's promoting racing.
No, I agree. I agree.
But high deg. So you guys have to run hard. You have to pit. I mean, God bless America. It would at least be some racing. You know, George Russell ran 77 laps on mediums.
Yeah, right? A lot of them did.
I mean, that's why he was going 5 miles an hour. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to get to the point where Monaco is going to decide to widen the road. I really don't. You're talking about historic town. It's not going to just up and widen the road.
Wasn't there some talk about Monaco losing their Grand Prix because they pay significantly less?
Yeah, it was. They don't pay anything.
Well, I mean, I think it came out that they do pay something, but it's not. It's significantly less than other places.
Yeah.
Let me do some research here. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to leave the calendar. I think they've got to come up with. There's got to be a special, rule set. I think for Monaco. I think that's
they
the
pay
only
$20
way.
million a year to host the event.
Yeah. What are the other?
The lowest total on the 24 race calendar. You guys keep talking. I'll keep looking.
Yeah, make sure. Let us know who the highest and like mid range people are. So anyway, yeah, we definitely got to get to a point where something gets changed at Monaco to make it different. Let's talk about the impact of Charles' win. Kind of want to go through that a little bit.
Okay, just real quickly. In 2024, remember they paid $20 million.
Okay.
Every other race has a mandatory $40 million. So they're half of what everybody else's mandatory is. That's just the bottom. It's got to be. Plus, it can go. Plus, there's a 5% bump every year. So that's just 2024. Yearly contract, $40 million.
Qatar paid 55.
Okay, there you go. So the minimum's 40, and Monaco paid 20.
Yeah, I'd make.
They have one hell of a bake sale.
I mean, that's
all the billionaires in town. They're having a hell of a bake sale.
I wonder how much Abu Dhabi pays.
I don't know. I'm looking.
I'd say
Qatar was the highest at 55 million.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Qatar's at 55 million. That's the highest. So everybody else is between 40 and 55. Yeah. Somewhere in that range. I mean, plus some, depending on the contracts. And Monaco's at 20.
Yeah, Qatar's out there in the middle of nowhere.
And I would love to know the ratings on that because I think the more social media catches on, the more people are like, yeah, man, it's not a good race.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a pretty race.
At some point, the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze anymore. They're going to have a terrible ratings weekend. And, they're, like I said, their qualifying is going to be great and everybody's going to watch that. And then no one's going to tune in for the race because it's just a parade.
Yeah. And, last year we had a fantastic qualifying. It's one of the best qualifying in years of any race. And then we had the rain that hit late. And that did cause a lot of intensity because Alonso could have won that race, but screwed up and didn't come in to get his tires on time and ended up running a slow lap in super wet on slicks. And it cost him the race. Little things like that where guys have to make choices. And I'd say maybe do what endurance guys do. Set 3 pit windows and you have to come in within these 2 laps to pit. And that way nobody knows really which one of those 2 or 3 laps that the pit lane's open, who's going to come in. Maybe something. Who knows?
They could do something. I'm trying to find TV ratings.
The cars have gotten a lot larger.
And
so its pit strategy is where overtakes are going to have to be made. So, you've just got to somehow force more pits.
Yeah. Or have a different chassis for Monaco or run go-karts.
Or maybe they have to run, like physically get out of their car and run one lap. I don't know.
Potato sack race.
Man, poor Yuki with that 16-inch inseam. Anyway, the impact of Charles' win, and I wanted to talk about it from a lot of different factors. One, the obvious one is he's from Monaco. and it's the race he's wanted to win since he was a kid. It's the race that got him into Formula One. And then there was the whole bit about his dad and how he didn't even have the budget to continue in Formula One until Ferrari. But that's not the impact I really want to discuss. I want to talk about the 2024 season and how how this win is just showcasing further that Red Bull has become mere mortals. Because I don't think I'm with this group. I don't think anybody out of this group didn't not predict a whitewash again by Red Bull. I did. Yeah. I thought they were going to win every race this year.
Yep.
But they've only won how many? We've had 8 races and they've won 4 of them.
Yeah.
Is that right? Lando, Sainz.
We've had 4 different winners.
Leclerc. Who's the other one? No, that's it.
Checo.
Max. No.
I thought Checo won one.
Checo hasn't. So Max
Checo
is 4th. So they've won 5. Because you got Max, Lando, Leclerc, Sainz, 4 different winners.
Yeah.
So they've won 5 races.
Anyway, I think it has shown their car's mortality. This weekend could have went either way. I really think if Piastri had been able to get that extra little 100th of a second pace in quali, he would have been up front and we would have been talking about a McLaren win for sure.
Again.
What did you guys think about Max's comments after the race about the car? Did you guys see that? Anybody see that? They just said something about, you had an off day or something like that, or you think it was an off day. And he said, I challenge any driver in the paddock to come out and drive my car and do it faster than I did. So, I mean, he basically threw the car right under the bus because they said, they basically were saying you had an off day. And he's like, no, it wasn't me. Come drive my car.
Yeah, and here's what I saw today from Christian Horner. And it's exciting as it, is getting with the Ferraris and McLarens catching up. This is scary that Christian Horner said that their simulator and actual racing is not aligning at all. So there's something off with their simulator. Now they've pinpointed the problem. That's an easy fix.
I don't understand how that works, but I mean, I don't work there, obviously, but okay.
I mean, is their simulator saying
so their problem is that their
simulator giving them feedback?
It's not working on the track.
Not true. Yeah.
So it's not translating from the telemetry is not translating over from the simulator to the car.
Yeah, they're saying that you need more downforce and they need less downforce or whatever it is.
Okay. Well, it didn't work this weekend. It didn't work for either one of them. Of course, Checo's Checo, but I don't even know where to go on that. The rumor now he's going to join Andretti, I guess.
Well, did he reject a contract? They gave him a 1-year contract and he said no, he wanted multi-year, and then he went out in Q3. Yeah, bad timing there, Hot Rod.
Yeah, you kind of got to back it up there, man.
I mean, you can't come into a race you've won before off saying, "Oh no, I deserve a multi-year contract," and then go 16th or whatever he was.
Yeah, guys, that 1 year, that sounds good.
Part of me thinks
I would have left there immediately and walked over to Horner and been like, "I was just kidding."
Yeah. Where's that pen?
Part of me was thinking he headed up the hill at Monaco and was just like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this today."
I'm super excited about Williams next year.
So I don't think he's going to Williams, but he'd go to the house before he went to Williams. But because I even heard Adrian Newey Williams rumors this weekend, which was really weird.
It's not gonna happen.
That's where he started, right?
I don't know, Chad. You'd probably know that more than I do.
I'm pretty sure that's where he started.
A lot of them do. A lot of drivers start there. But yeah, I still think he'll end up at Ferrari. I don't know. Hey, funny bit of trivia: the largest boat in the harbor this weekend used to belong to Lawrence Stroll. Go figure, right? Shocker. But he sold it last year to, guess who? Joe Bob Latifi. That's not his real first name, but it's Nicholas Latifi's dad. I don't remember what his first name was, but he sold it to Nicholas Latifi's dad, who apparently rents it out for $1.5 million for the weekend.
In other news, the smallest penis in Monaco was also Joe Bob Latifi.
Joe Bob Latifi. Oh, we're gonna get sued by the Latifi family, and man, they've got how they more lawyers than we got money.
Listen, it's not worse than what we used to say about Joe Zanazzi.
Yeah, it's true too. Although he's doing great, man. So yeah, he's doing really, really well. He won 24-hour at Le Mans last year.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, lots of people have heard about it.
So
tens of them.
Yeah, all 10s of them. But anyway, Lawrence Stroll's big old boat got sold to big old Joe Bob Latifi. So here we are. So let's talk about Mikey. You're a big fan of the midfield and the back of the field. Why don't you let's talk about some of that?
It's a back kick. You're a big kick, and there's 3-second pit stop. They've got under 3 seconds this week.
I saw Valtteri Bottas
under 3 seconds on a pit stop.
He did 2.3. Everything. Yeah, I could not believe it. Some of your favorite teams back there, and they're, churning out 2.3-second pit stops. I was like, what's going on in the world?
That made my whole heart happy.
And then Valtteri,
you're a fan of those teams. Talk about them.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
But
I leave this show for 3 months, and you guys have turned it into.
So we do need to talk about this right here. So
oh god, here we go.
So this is I'm sorry about the resolution. This is the best I could get. But this was an onboard cam from Lance. This is from Lance Stroll's car, who would later screw up even worse. But
this was before the incident of his
Lance
tire.
is super excited. It wasn't his fault.
That's Ocon being stupid in the front, and he's airborne and going to be out of the race in a couple seconds because he decided to go toe-to-toe with his teammate.
He drove on his inside, right?
Yeah, drove up on his inside coming out of Portier.
Is that one of those corners you don't pass on?
Yeah, absolutely.
It only applies to Ferrari.
Oh, so it's open season.
Alpine full send.
Yeah, Alpine's going to go full send, man.
Oh, God, love Ocon.
But Ocon DNF, and I still don't know what's going on with that team. They're crazy. Although I will say this, Ocon got on Twitter after he DNF'd and was like, that's my fault. That whole thing was my fault, my bad. Of course, he probably had his spin doctor agent standing there going, just take responsibility for it. Quit being stupid.
Do better than Lance Stroll did earlier this year.
Yeah, on the broadcast, it's funny because Ocon and Piastri both kind of hit the paddock, the garage at the same time. One of the mechanics just kind of said, shh, to Pierre, like, let him handle it. Ocon had to go straight up the stairs and have a talk.
Well, Ocon's got a squirrely streak in him. It was him and Max a few years ago where they got in a shoving match in the paddock. So, anyway, yeah, that is not a wholesome situation at Alpine right now. One of the other big screw ups this weekend, Mikey. This is front of the midfield. I don't know if you still root for those guys, but the front of the midfield, Aston Martin.
Not as much as those guys back here.
So, Alonso's whole job was to hold up the field for Lance Stroll. And Lance Stroll he had like 3 or 4 overtakes in that race. And then that was all completely undone with the nailing the wall and losing a tire, which, I'm sure the message to Alonso after that was, we're going to need you to actually race now, but a little late at that point. So,
yeah, here's what Stroll did to losing the tire, but not onto the track is what sucked and caused a yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could have brought McLaren another chance.
And I actually agree with you.
Do it where it benefits.
Do it on the track.
Do it right.
Might as well have. I mean, it would have been something exciting for that race is just losing it on the track. So you had that situation. And then, of course, everybody else back there just had a horrible day, man. Danny Rick was right behind Alonso, who spent the whole day holding the field back. So not the Monaco he wanted, I'm sure. Joe Guan Yu and Bottas, just saying their names kind of speaks volumes as far as their performance. They just didn't do shit back there. Logan Sargent was ahead of some of those people.
He still races?
Logan Sargent still
Hey.
races,
Still race.
Don't
and
you
he's
disparage
finished.
Stars and Stripes on Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Bottas. Speaking of kick again, I bring them up because I love those guys. Bottas with the overtake of the race, but it was Sargent, so it don't really count.
I'll
I didn't
take
see it. I tend not to watch the people in the
I'll
back.
take Stroll on the double because he did 2 overtakes on the same lap, I think. So I took him for that. But guys, do we have anything else for Monaco before I break the fuel pod rule of only talking about Formula One?
No, if you're gonna talk about something else, I'm out. See you guys.
Okay. So can't be an
This that
American
after dark section we were talking about.
can't be an American on Memorial Day weekend and not talk about the Indy 500, the biggest spectacle in motor racing, taking place at Indianapolis on Memorial Day weekend. Normally it starts around 12:30. This one started at 4:45 or whatever it was due to inclement weather. Then after the restart, I don't know what those guys were doing during this delay. Were they chugging Red Bull mainline and 5-hour energies? What they were doing, but they came out and we proceeded to have 67.4 caution flags in the first 20 laps. We're just going to bypass the fact that Danica Patrick was still on the dais to speak. But yeah, what do you guys think for the ones of you that watched it or watched the highlights?
Great race. I enjoyed it. It just seemed like it was a ton of wrecks, and there were a lot of wrecks just single cars.
Yeah, and a lot of them were the rookies up front. Like
Yeah.
the first 50 laps was all the I call them the quists because we have like 16 quists in Blomqvist and Lundqvist and Bloomquist and whatever. All wrecking out. Marcus Ericsson got taken out by the first rookie that wrecked. We got Stingray Robb leading at some point. He's a 2-year guy. But Chad, you were right. The final 25 laps and Pato O'Ward purposely
I felt so terrible for him.
Purposely hold and maturely staying in second on purpose. You saw him even like literally almost break to not pass Newgarden at some point. And then when he did it, I thought of the line from Fast and Furious. I'm like, that's too soon, Junior. Should have waited another half a lap. But he shot out when they came around with one whole lap to go, which was dumb because he had to know Newgarden was going to get a run on that straight stretch on the back, which was crazy.
That's the only thing about IndyCar I don't like. I've really gotten to where I like IndyCar, but that trying to break the draft constantly, like swerving down, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that drives me bonkers. But it was fun to watch, man. And I like Joseph Newgarden, so I was excited for him. But it was a wonderful finish of the race. It was so much fun. Yeah,
and I'm happy for Roger Penske. He's got how many? I don't know how many. He's got the most IndyCar wins ever now. I was a little upset for Elio Castroneves. He had a real shot. He was running P8 there on the last 5 laps, and he would have been the first 5-time Indy winner. And that would have been cool to see. I mean, I'd like to see that in my lifetime, somebody take it 5 times. But Newgarden's a guy that could do it for sure. He's still very young. At some point, I'm hoping his agent tells him to quit running into the crowd when he wins because I don't think that's sustainable with how crazy people are. I know, I agree, but
it's a little scary though. I was a little nervous.
Yeah,
I'm
glad he left his helmet on.
Good Lord, dude, quit doing that.
Yeah,
he only does it at Indy though, right?
Yeah.
He's
like, I love these fans. I'm always going to run into the crowd, and I'm like, dude, one day you're going to get shivved.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, it's funny you thought that because I thought the same thing. I was like, golly, what if somebody stabbed him, a little Brutus style or something?
Yeah.
You're trusting those minimum wage security workers a little too much there, Hot Rod.
And then, man, the screen they showed of Pato just sitting in his car, like with his head up, like he was up on the canopy, just kind of leaned over. I felt awful for him, man.
So
he's worked so hard.
I'm going to bring it to F1 for just a second. What happened with him and his shot at F1? Is he just not going to get that shot again?
Oh, I think he's still in the running for it. Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be. I mean,
he's still a part-time reserve for McLaren.
But what job's out there for him? Is he younger? I don't know how young he is.
Dude, I'm sorry, but he's a Mexican guy, and you really can't tell his age. He's one of those guys.
No, that's the way to bring race into it.
Yeah. Well, they do it all the time in Formula One. Like Nick DeVries was like 42 or something.
He looked 100. I swear he was in that movie Willow. What? Anyway, yeah, it was a great race. Great race. He was holding the baby and running. I remember it.
Thought he was in the boat in Goonies. Anyway, how you doing?
Rocky Run,
baby.
Okay. All right.
Wow, this went downhill fast.
This is what happens when I show up.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, Indy 500 was a great race. I don't know how many laps Kyle Larson got to run of Charlotte, but it was cool. He was holding his own in IndyCar, man. That's for sure.
Did Charlotte run to completion? The last I looked, it was at rain delay.
Oh, I don't know.
Was it 2:49 at rain delay? Christopher Bell. I don't know if it finished.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It was on the TV today. I don't know if it was live or not. They may have ran.
No, I mean they called a winner. Christopher Bell won.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. Again, I don't know what if it was rain shortened or what. Anyway, cool.
I've got one more thing to go over because, especially since Chad made it a point to show up tonight. So let's talk about fantasy F1.
2 weeks in a row, baby.
Could have just skipped.
So,
who's at the bottom?
I'm gonna have to go to.
How bad are you? You got two teams. You're so bad, Jason. You got two teams at the bottom, and Mike's gonna be your biggest fan.
J Plaps don't count. That team does not. Their discount.
That team is. That's out.
Yeah. That's a DNS.
It must be awesome to make two teams be so bad that they're like, hey, maybe that one doesn't even count.
Big shout out to Six Strong Racing for coming in first at Monaco this week, and whoever their dickhead owner is.
He's a real piece of shit.
Also, Paul Cook coming in pretty hardy this weekend, bringing it strong. P2. I think that's the highest he's finished so far this year.
All of his chips, if I was guessing.
I hope not. If he only scored 171, these are some low scores.
It was a very low scoring week for sure.
Yeah.
Low score. There's 4 people that DNF'd. Somebody's gonna have somebody. Everybody's gonna have somebody that DNF. There's nobody. I mean. Yeah, everybody's gonna have low scores.
I mean, who in the hell is Toby? They got a negative 41. Who did he have on his team? That is right.
Yeah, what happened?
Negative 41. Yeah, oh my god!
I mean, how much money you put in the bank there, homie?
Now I gotta know. I'm pulling it up because
he's got Hulkenberg and a Haas, and then he had Logan Sargent, Verstappen, Bottas, Sainz, and Red Bull Racing.
I mean, Sainz had to get him some points. I guess not enough. Though.
Yeah, but he had only 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had Verstappen as his DRS driver and only got 26 points from him.
Yikes.
So, yeah, he negative 41.
I'll be the high score 2 weeks in a row, but negative 41.
Wow. Oh, my God, dude. He got negative 97 points from Haas and Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That just absolutely murdered.
I took a beating on Haas and Hulkenberg myself.
I just assumed you had all the back markers in there.
Well, that's who I picked first. I got 80 million in the bucket.
Who you got on there? Well, I got Bottas, and I love me some Joe Guan Yu. I got him too.
I'm telling you right now, if I'd have moved my 2X from Sainz to Leclerc, I would have taken Chad out.
If my mom had balls, she'd be my dad.
Yeah, it shoulda, woulda, coulda. You're not wrong, and you're gonna feel that next week for sure. Next race.
What she said.
Oh, he's gonna use a chip. He's gonna do it.
I'm not using chips. On. No, I'm gonna beat your all's asses without using chips.
I mean, Chad's got you in the bank right now, so
I mean, 2 weeks in a row. But yeah, I mean, anyway. what I loved about Jay is I said, "Hey, you're in second." He goes, "Oh, well, I guess I ought to start playing now." Like he hasn't been looking at it every day.
I haven't. I actually didn't look at it this week because it's Monaco. Monaco's a crap shit.
2024. We're gonna have math equations.
2024 overall, Chad moved into P3 from. That was a hell of a jump, dude. I think you were P6 like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, I was like 8 or 9 like 3 weeks ago.
He was right above both of my teams.
Yeah, well.
So
I got tired of Mike calling me all the time.
He's 100. Yeah. that negative score hurt Toby bad. He fell from P2 to P4. Cody's still up front. So he's tough to catch, man.
Yeah.
Who is that?
It's Cody Spencer, the guy from the picture last week.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I don't have a clue who that is.
Oh, I thought you
Hey,
responded.
who is that? It's Cody, the guy.
I don't know him either.
Oh,
I know he was in a last pod hat on.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
what's his? Yeah, okay. I didn't realize that was him. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
10-4.
He's had first place since week 1, I think.
Well,
so
he'll go down. He'll go down eventually.
And then the DRS chip, and he had that one week where he scored almost 600 points.
Good Lord, we'll chip away at him. It's a long season, baby.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I want to use mine. I also don't want to use them when all of you guys use them, but it's hard to tell.
I'm out of chips, so you're good there.
You're out of chips and you're still in last place.
Yep.
How's that even possible? Do you watch the sport?
Yep.
Have you ever seen an F1 race?
Please name one F1 driver from the current grid.
Listen, I got Nick Latifi because I really like this boat. Giovinazzi is killing it in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, so I picked him up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, guys, that's all I got tonight. So, barring any, hey, what do we have next? Silverstone, right?
Canada.
Yeah, I'm taking
Canada. That's right.
Give a week and go to Canada.
I always forget about Canada.
Oh, Canada.
June 7th. So it's, I'll tell you who won't be winning their home race. Lance Stroll. He's not winning Canada.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is Piastri going to make it his home race?
Maybe they'll let him win.
That's what I want to say.
Maybe they'll let him win. They might let him win.
Why do you guys hate on Piastri so much?
I don't hate him.
Should we read your text messages?
Just because I got pissed. I get pissed at Ferrari drivers too, man.
No.
Very rarely.
I can't recall that.
I've never heard him say he's mad at Carlos Sainz in the history of ever.
You've been mad at Piastri for like a month now.
There's nothing to get mad at Carlos Sainz about. He's
a smooth.
Yes, he's a smooth. That's exactly right. He's a smooth operator. But I get mad at Charles. I get mad at him all the time.
Funny.
Anyway, that's all I got, guys.
All right, y'all have fun.
Let's tune in.
F1 2024 out tomorrow if anybody wants to play.
F1 2024 out tomorrow.
Out tomorrow. I'll be on there.
I would like to play that. That'll be fun. Also, next episode is episode 100, gents. I would like to get everybody on here for that.
Ooh, can't wait to miss it.
So, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Probably.
It's going to be
really. I'm here.
And you're going to be like, I got everybody. We're all huddled. Can't make it. And I'll be like, shit. You're like, man, I'm going to drive over there and jerk a knot in your tail, bro.
You're going to jerk a what? Listen.
You got to save that for after dark. That's for the after dark edition.
Listen, by God, I will.
We're going to log off here. Keep a lookout for our after.
We have a 1-900 number to put on the bottom of the screen.
Jerking nuts and tails, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just telling you, when my dad watches this episode, he'll be like, I don't understand why they were laughing about that. It's the common phrase.
Maybe in the 1950s.
Wow. Wow.
It's a common phrase. Like pouring the rain.
Pouring down the rain.
You don't have to have the V.
All right, guys, let's close it out.
Love
Let's end it right there. And I will see you guys when I see you. Probably tomorrow.
All right, guys.